Welcome back to Full Spectrum Frontiers. I'm Bennett Tanton, and today we're peeling back the armor plating on a topic that most folks don't think about until it's too late. Where America's weapons come from, and what happens when they don't come from here at all. Here's the cold truth. The greatest military on Earth is now dangerously dependent on foreign supply chains for some of its most critical components. We're talking semiconductors, rare earth elements, advanced batteries, guidance chips, vital building blocks for everything from F-35s to missile defense systems. And many of those come from countries that, let's just say, don't exactly send us Christmas cards. Now, if that doesn't concern you, consider this. We've spent decades offshoring our industrial base in the name of efficiency, globalization, and Wall Street profits. But in doing so, we hollowed out the core of what used to be the arsenal of democracy. And now, with the world on the edge, a rising China, war in Europe, tensions in the Middle East, we're realizing just how vulnerable that makes us. So the question is simple, but the answers aren't. Can we fix this in time? Can America rebuild its defense manufacturing capacity before the next big conflict demands it? In this episode, we're going to hit three main fronts. What happened, how the U.S. let its industrial base decay, and what it cost us. What's being done about it now, from the CHIPS Act to the Defense Production Act? What's still missing? Why rebuilding our arsenal isn't just about machines and metal, but about people, culture, and long-term vision. No fluff, no politics, just a clear-eyed look at whether America can still rise to meet the moment, or if we've already passed the point of no return. If you find value in what we're doing here on Full Spectrum Frontiers, do me a favor, like, share, and leave a review. It helps get this message into the hands of more people who need to hear it. All right, let's get into it. Let's rewind to a time when America didn't ask, "Can we build this?" We just did. During World War II, the United States went from economic depression to industrial juggernaut in a few short years. Ford stopped making cars and started cranking out bombers. Women filled the factories. Steel was poured, gears turned, and the world watched a nation out-manufacture its enemies into surrender. That was the high watermark, the birth of the arsenal of democracy. But somewhere between Rosie the Riveter and TikTok, the gears started seizing up. Starting in the late 70s and accelerating through the 90s, the U.S. began offshoring production. Politicians sold it as economic efficiency. Wall Street loved it. Cheaper labor, higher margins, more shareholder returns. And we, the people, bought into it. We swapped out craftsmanship for convenience. We stopped fixing things and started upgrading them. And somewhere along the way, our defense industrial base was quietly gutted. Want semiconductors for missile guidance? Taiwan makes 90% of the world's advanced chips. Need rare earth metals for stealth tech, lasers, or electric propulsion? China controls 60 to 70% of global production and 85% of the processing capacity. Even basic munitions, like the 155mm shells used in Ukraine, are now facing bottlenecks because our factories can't keep up. That's not a war-fighting strategy. That's a supply chain suicide pact. It gets worse. Many of the facilities that once made key defense components are long gone, bulldozed, gutted, replaced by condos or Amazon warehouses. The skilled workforce that used to make these systems? Retired, dead, or working in tech startups that make dating apps instead of drone parts. And because of security classifications and quality standards, you can't just fire up a factory tomorrow and start churning out missile components. This isn't Legos. It takes years to ramp back up. Now, you might be asking, why did no one stop this? Some did. The Pentagon has issued warnings for decades. Think tanks wrote the papers. Congressional reports gathered dust. But as long as the threats were abstract, no one cared. Until the pandemic. Until Ukraine. Until Taiwan became the most valuable chip of all on the global chessboard. And now, suddenly, there's panic. The Defense Department is scrambling to rebuild stockpiles. Emergency contracts are going out. Congress is waving the Defense Production Act like a magic wand. But rebuilding a hollowed-out defense base isn't like flipping a switch. It's more like trying to rebuild a battleship in the middle of a storm. This isn't just an economic issue. It's a sovereignty issue, a security issue, and frankly, a dignity issue. We gave away our ability to defend ourselves, one supply contract at a time, and now the clock is ticking. Let's talk triage. The United States government finally seems to realize its bleeding industrial capacity, and it's reaching for whatever bandages it can find. Enter the CHIPS and Science Act, passed in 2022 and hailed as a once-in-a-generation investment in semiconductor manufacturing. $52 billion, that's right. Billion with a B, the goal? To build chip foundries, bring jobs back to American soil, and reduce our dependency on Taiwan, South Korea, and, indirectly, China. Sounds great on paper, and don't get me wrong, this is a step in the right direction. Intel, TSMC, Samsung, they're all announcing new facilities in Arizona, Ohio, and Texas. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. Money alone doesn't rebuild expertise. We've lost entire generations of skilled workers. We need more than just fab plants. We need engineers, technicians, tradespeople, inspectors, people who understand the dirty, difficult, and detail-obsessed work of building things that go boom and don't fail. That kind of human capital doesn't materialize overnight. You can't just tick-tock your way into metallurgical precision or supply chain resilience. Then there's the Defense Production Act, the DPA. It's an old warhorse from the 1950s, born in the Cold War era, meant to give the executive branch power to prioritize production of critical materials in times of national emergency. Presidents from Truman to Trump to Biden have invoked it, but rarely for defense manufacturing in peacetime. That's changing. The Biden administration has used it to boost domestic mining, battery production, and even hypersonics. The Pentagon is pouring money into munitions production, stockpile replenishment, and small defense contractors to diversify the industrial base. Sounds like a lot, but let's be honest, it's reactive. It's like building levees after the water's already coming over the dam. And here's the part most media won't touch. Even with the CHIPS Act and the DPA in motion, the timelines we're talking about are years out. Some fabs won't be operational until 2027 or later. In geopolitical terms, that's an eternity. We're staring down an increasingly aggressive China, a proxy war in Eastern Europe that's eating through NATO's stockpiles faster than we can replace them, and growing instability in the Middle East. The fuse is lit, and we're still trying to read the instruction manual on how to retool our supply chain.
And don't even get me started on bureaucracy. Permitting delays, EPA red tape, labor shortages, inflation eating into budgets. All of these slowdowns add up. The reality is, Washington is good at making headlines, but not always good at making things. So yes, the CHIPS Act and the DPA are important, but they're not enough. Not yet. Because in this high-stakes game of global brinkmanship, the winner isn't just the one with the most firepower. It's the one who can keep making it when the world's falling apart.
Let's go beyond the headlines for a minute, beyond the budgets and buzzwords, and talk about something deeper, something most defense experts won't touch, and policymakers can't legislate: the soul of a nation. Because what we're facing isn't just a manufacturing problem. It's not just a geopolitical game of chess. It's a cultural crisis, a spiritual one. See, when America outsourced its factories, it also outsourced something else: the pride of production, the spiritual weight of building, the grit of making real things with your hands that defend, preserve, and endure. And we didn't just lose the jobs, we lost the identity that came with them. We became a nation obsessed with consumption instead of creation. App developers replaced machinists. Influencers replaced engineers. A country that once bent steel and forged victory now scrolls TikTok while Taiwan makes our microchips. We like to think our power lies in our missiles and our fleets, but real power, enduring power, comes from self-reliance. From knowing that when the lights go out and the threats roll in, you can still stand on your own 2 feet. That your nation still remembers how to grow food, fix machinery, build a generator, turn a wrench. We've lost too much of that muscle memory. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize it's gone. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't some romanticized call to return to 1940s America. This is about sovereignty, technological, economic, and spiritual. You can't defend a homeland you no longer know how to maintain. You can't fight for a country you no longer feel connected to. And you sure as hell can't build a better future on borrowed parts from Beijing. The industrial base isn't just a logistical concern, it's a moral compass. It reflects what we value, what we protect, and what we pass down. And if we don't start rebuilding, not just the factories, but the mindset, then the arsenal we once had won't matter, because we'll have forgotten why we built it in the first place. That's what's really at stake here. Not just national security, but national purpose. The factories? We can fund them. The machines? We can buy them. But the will? The discipline? The sacred responsibility to produce what we consume and defend what we believe? That's got to be forged. And it starts with people waking up to the war that's already here. Not on some battlefield overseas, but right here at home. The war for our manufacturing soul. The war for our future. So, here we are. A nation that once armed the free world, now scrambling to remember how to make a chip. We've got a military budget the size of Saturn, but we're dangerously close to not being able to reload if the next big war breaks out. We gave away our manufacturing muscle in exchange for cheaper goods and bigger margins, and now we're finding out what that actually cost. But here's the thing. This isn't over. Not even close. America still has the bones, the land, the people, the brains. We just need to wake up. We need to get honest. And we need to stop acting like tech supremacy and Amazon delivery speeds are the same as national security. They're not. The arsenal of democracy isn't a myth. It's a memory. One that we can resurrect if we've got the grit to do it. But it's going to take more than funding bills and factory ribbon cuttings. It's going to take a spiritual reconnection to the values that made us great in the first place: work ethic, resilience, craftsmanship, and the belief that freedom is worth sweating for. So whether you're a machinist, a policymaker, or just someone who gives a damn, remember this: we either rebuild it now or regret it later. Thanks for listening to Full Spectrum Frontiers. If you got value from this episode, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps more than you know. Share it with your friends, your coworkers, your neighbor who still fixes his own lawnmower, because that guy gets it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sovereign, and stay ready.
I will be your shield in the fiercest battle. I'll defend you from all these arrows, and the sword I wield will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just you, me, and the odds. We stuck together, we two peas in a pod. You dealt a bad hand, I'm there seizing the cards. We'll never be separated till we see in the gods. We've been low together, high forever. Long as we go together, we'll die whenever. Be a light, couldn't let the darkness try you ever. Truth in my word, you I lie to never. And when the world gets a little too hard, wipe your eyes, put away your sorrow. When it's war, I'll be leading the charge, and I'll be still fighting for you tomorrow. Yeah, even with a blindfold or in different time zones, could find my way to you with my eyes closed. There's nothing between us. Go to Mars and Venus, stand in front of every one of them rocks they slinging and be a shield.
Your shield.
Yeah.
In the fiercest battle, I'll defend you.
I'll defend you
From all these arrows, and the sword I wield will keep you from danger. Let me be your shield.
Yeah, let's go. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield. Let me be your shield, let me be your shield.